Hello, my name's Daniel. Today we're reading We're Getting a Cat by Vivian and Salvatore Rubbino. So get comfy and I'll begin. Our family got a cat because my dad is terrified, and I mean terrified of mice. We didn't have them when we lived in the centre of town, but then we moved to a new flat in an old house, and it had loads of mice. We'd only been there 2 weeks when he stomped into the kitchen and said, "We're getting a cat." Mum said, "But you don't like cats." "Cats catch mice," said Dad. "I like them now. I like them very much." So that weekend, we went to the home for rescue cats and we chose Kevin. "He's big and strong," Dad said. "He'll catch all the mice." A week later, Kevin was allowed to come home with us, and me and my sister were so happy. Mrs. Harris next door had a cat, so we asked her how to make Kevin feel at home. "Keep him inside for at least 3 weeks," she said. "If you let him go outside too soon, he'll try to run back to where he came from. He needs to get used to the idea that he's your cat." She paused. "Oh, and he'll need a litter tray. I've got an old one you can use." We went to the pet shop and bought some special grainy stuff to put in the tray. Then we put the tray in the cupboard in the hall and propped the door open. Kevin went straight in and did a wee. Me and my sister made Kevin a lovely bed in a cardboard box, but he didn't like it much. He slept on top of the fridge, the back of the sofa, and the pile of newspapers waiting to be recycled. In the evening, he came and kept us company, and if Dad was there, he always wanted to sit on his knee. At first, Dad shooed him away, but after a few days he said, "Pesky cat, but at least he knows who's important." Mum rolled her eyes. It was fun finding out about cats, but sometimes we got things wrong. Kevin hated having his tummy tickled. When we tried, he went to sit with his back to us. His tail was twitching. Mrs. Harris said it meant he was cross. He didn't like having his fur brushed the wrong way. He didn't like being wheeled about in my sister's Dolly's pram. He didn't like water in his bowl. He liked the water in the toilet better. We were worried it was dirty, but Mrs. Harris said it was all right, and Kevin drank it. What did Kevin like? He liked curling up beside me and headbutting me while I scratched his ears. He liked cleaning himself all over, especially in between his toes. He liked chasing a ping-pong ball or a piece of paper on the end of a string. He liked sitting at the window making growly noises at the pigeons. He liked scratching the back of Mum's chair. We didn't tell Mum. We used our pocket money to buy him a scratching post. Dad helped us a bit. Most of all, Kevin liked eating. He ate all the food we put in his bowl, and he purred a lot. After a week, he knew he was fed at 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening, and he would rush into the kitchen and sit by his bowl. We loved Kevin. The only problem was he didn't catch any mice, and that made Dad very grumpy. One night, the mice were extra noisy and kept Dad awake for ages. He was scowling as he ate his breakfast. "That cat's useless," he said. "He's got to go." And he stomped off to work. When we told Mrs. Harris about it, she shook her head. "Poor Kevin. Maybe he doesn't like catching mice." "Isn't that what cats do?" I asked. "Some cats aren't bothered," Mrs. Harris said, "especially if they're used to having regular meals." "But Dad's going to send him away," my sister wailed. "No, he's not," Mum sounded very firm. Kevin's part of our family now. He's staying. But what about the mice? I asked. You could try mint, Mrs. Harris said, or there are other ways to get rid of them. Kevin was stretching out his paws to admire his claws, and Mrs. Harris smiled. Is he cleaning himself a lot? That means he's settling in nicely. Well done. My sister beamed. Do you think he can go out now? It's 3 weeks today since we got him. Let him out this evening, just before his tea time, Mrs. Harris suggested, and rattle his kitty crunchy box when you call him back in. We let Kevin out at 5:30. He strolled out the door as if he wasn't bothered whether he was in or out, but then he leapt over the garden wall and vanished. My sister burst into tears. He's run away! We'll give him 5 minutes and then we'll rattle his kitty crunchy box, Mum said. He'll come rushing back for his tea. But he didn't. We rattled and called for ages, but there was no sign of Kevin. Even Mum looked worried. Dad got home at 6:30. Hello, he said. You all look miserable. What's up? Kevin's run away, my sister wailed. He knew you didn't want him, and he's gone. No, he hasn't, Dad said. He was sitting on the front path waiting for me, look. And in walked Kevin, purring loudly. Thanks for listening. See you next time.